At precisely 3:47 a.m., the sleepy town of Willow Creek jolted awake to a symphony of sirens and a sky ablaze with an eerie, molten orange. I stood barefoot on my porch, the cold biting my toes, squinting through acrid smoke at a sight that twisted my gut. My old shed was engulfed in flames, but it wasn't the fire that had every deputy, firefighter, and a fleet of sleek black SUVs tearing down my dirt road. It was what lay hidden inside that Sheeta Covert Federal K-9 training facility, disguised as a crumbling relic of rural life. And Lisa, my nosy neighbor, had no idea that when she crept over with her jerry cans, she hadn't just torched my property. She declared war on a classified government operation. The chaos unfolded like a fever dream. Elite K-9 units, trained to sniff out bombs and track fugitives, tore through the haze, their barks sharp as gunfire. Handlers shouted commands, spotlights sliced across the fields, and there was Lisa, in a floral nightgown and flip-flops, sprinting toward the pines like a fugitive in a bad movie. For a moment, I stood frozen, caught between horror and disbelief, thinking she's really gone and done it. Lisa, the queen of petty grievances, had set fire to a federal stronghold because she couldn't stand the sight of my eyesore shed from her dining room window. It hadn't always been this way. 3 years ago, when I bought the rundown farmstead on the edge of Willow Creek, a small town nestled in Oregon's rolling hills, the place was a disaster, sagging fences, overgrown pastures, and a shed that looked one storm away from collapse. Most neighbors offered tight-lipped smiles, but Lisa? She didn't bother with pretense. From the moment I moved in, she treated me like a stain on her perfect suburb. She'd march past my property, clipboard in hand, scribbling notes with theatrical flair. She'd call the county over a stray dog or a loose fence board. Once, she taped a glossy sign to my mailbox. "This isn't a scrapyard." I try to keep the peace. I rebuilt the shed with weathered cedar to blend into the town's rustic charm, mowed the fields, and kept to myself. But Lisa didn't care about my efforts. She hated what she couldn't control. Then, 2 years ago, a wild opportunity came my way. A buddy from my old Army days, now working with federal law enforcement, called with a proposition. They needed a secluded spot for a top-secret K-9 training program somewhere quiet, private, and run by someone who could keep their mouth shut. I laughed it off at first, but the idea grew on me. After months of vetting, inspections, and NDAs thicker than a phone book, my shed became a fortress in disguise. From the outside, it was all rusty nails and peeling paint. Inside, reinforced steel, climate-controlled kennels, high-tech obstacle courses, and enough surveillance to monitor a small country. We hid the operation flawlessly unmarked vans, off-hour deliveries. Dogs rotated under cover of darkness. It worked like a charm until Lisa decided my shed was her personal crusade. Her obsession had been building for months. She'd file complaints about suspicious activity, claiming I was running an illegal kennel. She called code enforcement so often they stopped returning her calls. At a town meeting, she stood up and demanded the shed be demolished for aesthetic harmony. The room snickered, but Lisa didn't back down. She festered. 3 nights before the fire, I caught her skulking around my property with a flashlight, claiming she was checking for coyotes. I filed a report, but the feds brushed it off. "Just a busybody," one handler chuckled. None of us saw the storm coming. When the fire erupted on September 12, 2024, it hit like a grenade. My house alarm screamed, yanking me from sleep. The stench of smoke hit before I saw the flames. By the time I stumbled outside, the shed security systems had kicked into overdrive, steel shutters slamming down, sprinklers roaring, dogs snarling. And there, lit by the inferno, was Lisa, dragging a half-empty gas can, slipping in the dew-soaked grass, scrambling to escape. I thought she might vanish into the woods, but then a K-9 team black-clad, moving like ghosts fanned out. A massive German shepherd named Titan tackled her with surgical precision. Lisa's scream could have shattered glass. Within seconds, agents had her cuffed, reading her rights as she wailed about community standards. As fire crews battled the blaze, the absurdity sank in. Lisa, in her quest to beautify Willow Creek, had committed felony arson against a federal facility. Standing amid the smoke and flashing lights, I felt a strange mix of rage and vindication. This wasn't just a neighbor spat anymore. Lisa had crossed a line so bold it lit up the night sky. By morning, Willow Creek was a rumor mill on steroids. Some swore it was a terrorist attack. Others whispered about a secret weapons lab. Lisa, out on bail within hours, spun her own tale, claiming I'd staged a fire for insurance money and to ruin the town's charm. She posted rants online, tagged news outlets, and demanded my arrest, painting me as a rogue farmer running a shady operation. It was laughable until I realized how dangerous her lies could be. The feds didn't waste time. Before dawn, fire investigators swarmed my property, joined by black vans with no markings. Lisa, in a crisp sundress and wielding her trusty clipboard, marched up to the lead investigator, introducing herself as the acting town council chair. She insisted on overseeing the investigation for transparency. I nearly spat out my coffee. The investigator, a stone-faced man with an earpiece, humored her for 30 seconds before dismissing her. Undeterred, Lisa cornered a younger agent scanning wreckage. She demanded ID and a community review. The agent handed her a card, and Lisa's face went white. That agent was a senior Homeland Security officer who could lock down a city with one call. Lisa scurried off, muttering about phone calls. The investigation moved fast. Fire marshals found 2 melted gas cans, one with Lisa's initials scratched into it from a 2023 garage sale. Hidden cameras in fake birdhouses and farm equipment caught her pouring gas and filming the flames with a smug grin. Her online activity was worse paranoid posts on fringe forums, accusing me of running a foreign militia camp and urging neighbors to take action. The evidence was a slam dunk. By noon, Lisa called an impromptu town meeting on the sidewalk, megaphone in hand, ranting about rogue elements invading Willow Creek. She got 2 sentences out before agents pulled her aside, flashed badges, and escorted her to a black SUV. It wasn't an arrest yet, but it looked bad. News vans descended, reporters shouting over each other. Lisa's husband, a quiet man rarely seen, tried to shoo them away, yelling, "We thought it was just a shed." It was the evening news lead. The real bombshell came days later. Agents discovered Lisa hadn't just acted on impulse. She'd been spying on my property for months, cameras in her garden gnomes, a drone disguised as a kid's toy plane, even a spreadsheet titled Evidence for Town Justice. She logged everything: me fixing a gate, possible smuggling, dogs training, military drills. Her Wi-Fi password, Lisa 2024. The feds laughed as they cracked it open. The town council collapsed under the weight of Lisa's schemes. Her allies, questioned by agents, spilled everything. Lisa had fake fines, siphoned dues into a slush fund for her vendettas, and hosted strategy sessions to drive me out. When residents learned their money had funded her nonsense, the backlash was fierce. Town halls erupted, signs demanded her exile, and someone threw a goodbye Lisa barbecue. Lisa's legal battles were a spectacle. At her first hearing, she rambled about shadow agencies and accused the judge of bias because his dog barked at her. The courtroom roared with laughter. The charges: arson, federal property destruction, unauthorized surveillance carried years in prison. Her lawyer's defense crumbled against the mountain of evidence. She was sentenced to 5 years probation, crippling fines, and 2,000 hours of community service, starting with cleaning K-9 yards for Homeland Security. Meanwhile, my life transformed. The feds, impressed by my cooperation, bought more of my land to build a state-of-the-art K-9 center. The shed's ashes gave way to steel walls, training fields, and a helipad. I was named a citizen partner in national security, a title I laughed off but secretly cherished. The town, freed from Lisa's grip, bloomed. Kids played freely, neighbors shared beers, and the K-9 teams became local heroes. Lisa's house, foreclosed and bulldozed, became an agility course where dogs leaped over her old dreams. She moved to a dingy apartment 2 counties over, a cautionary tale whispered at barbecues. As I watched dogs train under a crimson sunset, I realized Lisa's war had backfired spectacularly. She tried to burn me down and instead built me up. But here's where it gets messy, and I want your take. Was Lisa just a petty tyrant, or did she genuinely believe she was saving Willow Creek? Should the feds have gone easier on her, given her ignorance, or was the hammer justified? And what about Did I dodge a bullet or invite trouble by hosting a secret facility? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wild stories. Let's stir up some debate.